Vogue editors versus fashion bloggers, and it's developed into quite the controversy. So it started with the Vogue editors, and then the fashion bloggers clapped back. So let's start with the very first, this is from Vogue creative digital director Sally Singer. She's the one that created all this. She wrote, quote, "Note to bloggers who change head to toe, paid to wear outfits every hour, please stop, find another business. You are heralding the death of style." Then we have another woman, Sarah Moyer. She's also from Vogue.com. She writes, quote, "The professional blogger bit with the added aggression of the street photographer swarm who attend them is horrible, but most of all pathetic for these girls when you watch how many times the desperate troll up and down outside shows in traffic, risking accidents even in hopes of being snapped." Doesn't even make sense, but okay. And then Nicole Phelps, she's the Vogue runway director. She chimes in too. She says, "It's not just sad for the women who preen for the cameras in borrowed clothes. It's distressing as well to watch so many brands participate." Wow, this is hard to understand why adult women would attack this way.
Yep.
Okay, so then we have a number of fashion bloggers that have clapped back. So number one, we have Caroline Vreeland. Am I saying her name correctly?
Yes, bitch.
She's a model. She's an influencer. So she writes this on Instagram, quote, "Dear Vogue magazine, since you hold a special and significant place in my heart, may I pose a question? If certain people on your team hate bloggers and influencers so much, I'm just curious why you put them on your international covers to increase sales." See, I can read what she writes. Makes a lot more sense. And then she goes on to say, "Most of the bloggers I know are hardworking young entrepreneurs. I find it shameful that an institution such as Vogue would demean and belittle these young people who are building their own path, especially since they are mostly young women, calling them pathetic." Good for you, girl. And
Someone
then we
better help her. She is going to need some serious medical attention.
Really quickly, we also have the blogger Brian Boy. He chimed in and he says, "It's schoolyard bullying, plain and simple. How satisfying it must be to go for the easy target rather than going for other editors." And then finally, stylist Shay Marie pointed out a photo on Vogue's Instagram account that defends their argument. And she says, "Can anyone guess what Vogue magazine most commented Instagram pic is by a landslide? It's a photo of her and Caroline Vreeland." Oh, snap.
Bitch got clapped back.
Crazy.
No, I find that so ridiculous because it's just so funny that finally someone can topple a huge corporation like Vogue in like a guerrilla war style clackback that I really, really appreciate, because it's like you guys have been elitist for so long. You've had a particular body type that you've always, thought as like the precious body type of the world. You have made it so hard to include other people into this. And fashion bloggers and online fashion bloggers are the people who are breaking that stereotype
and also,
for you.
Vogue started it. Vogue called out these fashion bloggers, and I also
pathetic and desperate. Talk about mean girls.
It's just I just don't understand why there needs to be this insane hierarchy. Like there's room.
What are you talking about? It's fashion.
No, but I just
That's
mean,
the
I know,
thing,
and
is
I really
like, everyone's so weirded out. Like, oh my God, how could this be?
I'm not weirded out. I think
Or not weirded out. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, how could you be so
it's
mean?
all
Like,
petty.
that is fashion.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the whole idea, the central idea of fashion is that especially if you're doing fashion criticism, that implies that there are better and worse ways to dress, which means you are judging people based on how they look, period. And everyone who thinks of a fashion show thinks of this crazy, untenable, angular, weird, rappy thing that no human being would ever wear. But guess what? Everyone needs that shit.
I have a mighty need!
Everybody needs the Bible of Vogue, which is a 100-year-old Bible released in installments, to drop so they can say like, ooh, we're on the fashion cover.
But that's what I'm saying. Like now we don't need that anymore, because now you can go onto Instagram and if Vogue style doesn't agree with you, it's spoiler. I don't really relate too much to Vogue style. I can find an Instagram person who has a really cool style, and I can emulate that, and I can follow them, and it's free.
Absolutely, because specifically what the Vogue editors are calling out is like this weird spectacle that's happening outside of the fashion show where people are kind of going up and down, back and forth.
So do the editors, though. It's hypocritical.
Guess what? Look what's
happening
the editors
inside.
Regardless of what the editors are doing, because they're not like explicitly getting paid, but specific for wearing, it's like specific outfits. But compare what's happening outside the fashion show to what just happened inside the fashion show. It's a bunch of people walking up and down so we can look at them and take pictures.
Yeah, that's the
same
thing. It feels like a contradiction to me because it's like like you said, it's the exact same thing, as well as it's something, like you said, so unattainable. But that's the point. That's why they're pissed off, because it's something that anyone can do now, but they want it to be just them.
Yeah, and the world of fashion is expanding, and media giants like Vogue need to adapt, but they don't want to. No. They don't want to adapt. They don't want fashion to be accessible for everyone. They're like, no, this was our club, this was our exclusive club, and you wanted to be in it, and now it's like, there's a club for everyone, and everyone has access to a club if they want to join.
It's frustrating, though, because Vogue, I've read a number of articles in Vogue where they will, write articles about female empowerment and uplifting other women, and then you have the editors calling women desperate and pathetic.
Gross.
It is. There is.
So gross.
Listen, I think there is a point to what Vogue is saying. I think there is an element of desperation and patheticness.
I don't disagree.
Okay, and I've done it before too. I had to say 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance before I did videos for 2 years. But still, there is something desperate and sad to having to go back and change, come back out and take photos because you got paid to appear in these outfits this much. That
Isn't that
said,
just a job?
Desperate and
that's
sad.
the thing.
Isn't that just
come
a
back
job?
to it. Look at what's so. I saw Devil Wears Prada, the documentary, and there is something. I mean, the whole thing is about how that inside the Vogue walls is sad and desperate. I think everyone's just generally frustrated, but take a moment and think you're living your dream working in a business where it's like, what pieces of cloth do I put on my body?
Totally. But I think
let's step back.
I think
and
they
not
look
take
bad,
ourselves so
and they look
seriously.
bad, and I don't think they expected to be shut down because there was so much support for these fashion bloggers. Look at how many retweets and likes they got. So I think these editors are like,
They're super jealous.
Yeah.
Because people are connecting
Final
with
thought, we
these,
gotta go.
Yeah, people are connecting with these people. They're not connecting with clothes. That's why fashion bloggers and Instagrammers and people that document their outfits do well. Not because people I love these clothes. It's I love this person, and and they seem to have a really good thing going. So I want to see what sort of clothes they are wearing. And I don't think that Vogue gets that. They just made it about this sort of impersonable clothing item robot thing. Whereas bloggers understand that there is a connection that needs to be made.
Right.
That proves that the digital editor and just how tone deaf they were.
Oh my God.
That proves that these people
Oh my
are
God.
better
It's
than
so
you.
bad.
And then just one last thing.
geez, Manise.
It's a philosophical thing to everyone. There's an old saying that first they ignore you, then they fight you, then you've won.
Yeah.
So this proves.
There you go.
That was a sweet way to end it.
There you go.
That's so
Okay,
sweet.
please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.